Hello! Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, friends. I'm not 2 hours, 5. I was gonna say, once again, I'm late to my own stream, but like not super late. So I'm getting better. But how is everyone doing? Oh, Kat, thank you so much for the resub. How are you? How is everyone today? I hope you had a good weekend. I had a wonderful weekend. But yeah, so today we're finishing up a cross stitch pattern because I'm making a present for my father-in-law and his birthday is this weekend. So I gotta get her done. Oh, hi, baby. Shadow's like, I'm gonna come hang out. Maybe. He's being sus. You're good today? Excellent. I'm glad. Good to hear it. Good to hear it. I have to show you guys. I don't know. I might spill tea all over my laptop, but I think it might be worth it. Maybe I'll do it with this one. I don't know. Okay. Basically, I bought the coolest freaking mug this weekend. So this weekend, I went to afternoon tea with a bunch of friends at Fortnum and Mason, which is very bougie. But it was really fun. I know I told you guys how I was a bit nervous about it, but it went amazing. The food was bomb. The company was great. And then afterwards, we like walked around the different levels because I had to pick up my favorite tea of all time, Russian Caravan. Yeah, yay! Oh, I'm so glad you're here. So I was able to pick up my Russian Caravan tea. And I got the coolest mug ever. So there's this dude, I guess, who basically has redesigned the Alice in Wonderland original drawings in like sort of an alternative way. So I got this mug. Let me do this. Just so, okay, if I spill tea over this, it'll be fine. No, it won't. But basically, let me see. Can you see? So this is the original like Mad Hatter Tea Party drawing from Sir John Tenniel, but this artist has re-envisioned them to look like they're having a rock band meeting. And the Mad Hatter is the lead singer of the band meeting. So he has a little microphone, and then the Dormouse is in there. He's like wearing his shades and smoking a cigarette. And then you got the March Hare, and then you have Alice sitting there with her guitar and her shades looking like the coolest little baddie in the world. But I saw this and I was like, I need it. Not that I need, any more mugs and cups and things, but I needed it, you guys. So yeah, so that's really exciting. So I'm really excited to drink my Earl Grey. The only downside, but that's the problem with most like fancy things, is it isn't dishwasher safe, so it's hand wash only, which I feel like I've spoken to you guys ad nauseum about how, I don't know, man, I hate having to wash dishes. That's one of my least favorite jobs in life is dishwashing. But I was like, worth it. Because there's a few, like, I guess fragile mugs that I own, but I never use them because we have like so many other cheaper mugs that are dishwasher safe. And so I was saying to Liam, I was like, I really should be using all the fancy teacups and things that we've bought over the years. And so he was like, well, why don't you use them during your streams? Because that's like, you know, an occasion for you to bust out a fancy teacup. And I'm like, I should. I really should. So maybe, yeah, hopefully. Or I'll just use this one constantly because I'm obsessed with it right now. But yeah. Yeah. Yep. To be fair, even Liam gets over it and he sticks things in the dishwasher he's not supposed to. And then when they start getting all ruined, I'm like, yeah, because they're hand wash only. But even he's to the point now where he's like, well, whatever. If we never use it, I would rather dishwash it and have it be ruined and have people use it than to not use it at all. And I was like, that's weird logic, but whatever. I'll allow it. Oh, no. Oh, that's so frustrating. Is that due to, like, weather stuff or just just your provider or something? Basically, I was just talking about hating to wash mugs, but I should use my bougie mugs more often. Okay. So you'll hear the vibes today. Yeah, that's okay. You'll be here in spirit even if your internet drops out. Be like, Cat's still here, just somewhere in the ether. But yeah, so I have this thing that I need to finish. It's a very small amount, so I'm hoping that I can finish this today and then we can also continue to work on our needle felting project. But also, I am very aware that this doesn't look like a lot, but it could take, you know, a few hours depending on the number of stitches. The other thing too I'm really intrigued by, whoops. Done. Oh, I screenshot. Okay. The other thing is the cross stitch pattern keeper thing that I use. It's called Markup. I guess pattern keeper is like the Apple equivalent. So this, or no, pattern keeper is the Windows equivalent, I think. So this is the Markup RX one. So the other day I got a notification that I guess this is, I didn't realize. I'm sure I did at one point, but I forgot because it's a yearly thing. That this is on a subscription service, and I don't remember why. I don't know if it's like you get a certain number of charts you can upload or there's certain features or whatever. But basically, originally, I think it was like £9.99 for the year. So it was like 10 quid. So I was like, perfect, that's fine, whatever, like 10 quid for the whole year. Like I didn't even think about it, right? And then I got an email saying, oh, they've upped the subscription from $9.99 to $17.99 for the year. And I was like, that's a huge jump. Now I know. Yeah. I don't know if I can't. Like, I think you can have a free version. I think you have to physically, sign up for the subscription part of it. You know what I mean? Hi, Meg. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you very much. Yeah, my father-in-law is a coffee drinker. It's the most un-British thing about him is that he's team coffee instead of team tea, but it's his birthday at the end of the week, so I'm going to make him something because I've never made him anything before. But yeah, so this program is like, oh, by the way, it's this. And so I canceled it. And so I'm waiting to see what happens. because as of right now, I still have access to this pattern. I'm still able to like mark it up and things like that. So I don't know if it just means I can't add any future patterns or whatever. So we'll find out. So I'll let you know when, you know, this decides to not let me do something. That'll maybe be why. But as of right now, I don't know what the subscription was for. And in a way, like, I do understand the jump, kind of, even though it seems like a lot, because I did notice the last time, like, because I hadn't used this for a little bit, because I was working on other projects that weren't cross-stitch related. And so I logged into this, and they've really upped the infrastructure. So, like, the autofocus for, like, the grid is so much better, and they do, like, key matching and symbol stuff and whatever. So they've really, like, put a lot of effort and upgraded it and things. So I'm like, okay, that makes sense. I don't know if it's, like, almost double the amount of the original subscription worth it, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Old guy drinking coffee and reading newspapers, the energy I aspire to. I love that. I wish that for you so hard, Meg. I feel like you have, this sounds like the most random thing, but I feel like you have the glasses for it. You know what I mean? Like, your glasses give coffee drinking, newspaper reading, like, cozy cardigan energy. And I love it. Mm-hmm. So that is the vibe. So if that's what you aspire to be, I feel like you're on your way. I wish I had time to just drink coffee in the morning at home before work. Yeah. Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad. Yeah, do you drive to work and then have your first coffee? Or do you have a to-go coffee and you do a to-go cup situation? What is your coffee situation of choice? Yesterday, I forgot to set an alarm and I ended up sleeping in a bit later than I had wanted to. And so I actually was feeling rested enough and the sun was out and I was like feeling real good about life that I actually took Shadow for a W before I had my coffee, and I wasn't like an absolute grumpy gremlin the entire time. So that was cool. Today I absolutely needed it though. But yes, I am a morning 1 cup coffee drinker. Sometimes 2 if I'm really tired, but then it's tea for the rest of the day, baby. But you know, only caffeinated until like 5. No more tea after 5. Though sometimes if I nurse this tea, it is caffeinated, so I will end up finishing like a sip of it at like 6. But I feel like I've drawn out the caffeine long enough that it's not like I'm consuming a fresh pot of the caffeination at 6 p.m. But yeah. But it was really cool. Because I feel like Fortnum and Mason always has like Alice in Wonderland type tea stuff, because it just kind of makes sense, right? It's like British tea and your brain instantly goes, well, Alice in Wonderland. For the most part. At least mine does. And so it makes sense that they have various Alice in Wonderland tea lines in place. But yeah, the fact that this one was like a cool edgy version, it was really funny. I took a photo of this like giant plate. Oh no. Oh man. Where is this giant plate? So first of all, so I walked on like the floor of the I don't know, like the tea stuff, because they have different levels. There's like what? 4 levels? Technically 5. One's like a basement level in this building, and they each have a different theme. So this one is all like the sort of crockery tea sets and like kitchenware and things like that. And then I walked into the back corner, and this was the display awaiting me. And I was like, excuse me. Part of me is kind of like, can I just ask them for the cardboard cutout? Like, how much do you think this cardboard cutout cost? Can I please have that one? But yeah, so I guess this was like just a display of all of the different plates that this guy had done in this style. So I don't know if you can see here. So these teacups and tea things are put on this massive like serving tray, but it's not even really that much of a serving tray. It's like a massive plate. And so I saw the plate, and this was before I saw the mug, and I was like, low-key, how mad would Liam be if I brought this massive plate home? To be like, hi, I bought a crazy-ass plate. Don't know where it's gonna live. Because it was massive, like I said. They managed to fit, like, you know, a whole serving tray, a whole whatever. So I was like, oh yeah, cool. Like, maybe Liam will let me take this, you know, what if I bought a massive plate? And then I checked how much it was, and I was like, no, I think, first of all, Liam would not be impressed if I brought a giant, useless plate home. And I think he'd be even less impressed if I told him that it was 125 pounds. So that's why I bought, you know, the 25-pound mug instead. But yes. But it was so cool. It was so cool. Oh. Your internet runs through your phone. That's so frustrating. So are you on like a hotspot right now, Kat? Because those can be, yeah, they're very temperamental. Yeah, no thanks, right? Exactly. I was like, no. I'm like, no. But yeah, as you can hear as well, the musical vibe is different right now. And that is because Pretzel Rocks has changed their, like, free music options. So originally, without fail, I think lo-fi and chill were always one of the free options. I think there was lo-fi, chill, and something else that they were, like, always, and then they would rotate out the other, like, 3, because I think every week there's, like, 5 free channels, and they rotate those in and out. Everything else is behind a paywall. And then they decided, no, we're gonna rotate all 5 of them. And so basically none of the options really fit the vibe today. But I like electro swing. So I was like, we'll see how it goes. I'm just waiting for the day though where I log in and there's like nothing. So we'll have to like find some free lo-fi or something like that. Or, you know, maybe I'll be optimistic and we'll broaden our horizons and, you know, maybe one day we'll listen to, I don't know what the other options are, but we'll expand our horizons. Honestly though, like, that makes sense. No, it's regular cable if you have phones that run through. Oh, yes. That's annoying though, because I'm assuming, so you're at work right now. Are you like unable to do your job currently? Because of your internet like fritzing out. I haven't seen Fraggle Rock in such a long time. I remember watching little snippets of it, I think like at a babysitter's house once upon a time. Really? That's so obnoxious. But yeah, how are you able to work today, Kat? Like, how? Like, are you able to do your job when this is happening? That seems not an option. Okay. Okay, that's fair, I guess. Still not any less frustrating. Oh, it's funny. I feel like this is like sort of electro swing equivalent. I watched Adam Show the other day and they showed it. Oh, that's amazing. Honestly, I feel like it's, I hope, because I feel like there was a bit of a concern. I'm reading an orc romance novel instead because my phone has internet. That's cool. That's nice. Yeah, I guess if you can use a hotspot or use your data, then it's okay. But yeah, I feel like there was a bit of a concern at one point when VFX and like animation and things like that and CGI got really big and are very big. I think there was a bit of a worry or a concern about like puppetry kind of dying out and like practical effects and things like that. And I do think obviously it's fewer and far between, but I do think that there are still certain pockets that are keeping like puppetry and practical effects alive, which is really cool. It's hilarious. Yeah, I bet. I'm sure. Are they just like grunting at each other a lot? Somebody started an orc mating bond because she broke an orc's nose opening. So canonically, the orcs work in offices? Is orc not like another, like a synonym or like a subgenre of troll? You know what I mean? Or like, you know, the Lord of the Rings orcs? And then I'm like, so canonically in this like orc romance fanfic, they like have real jobs? They work in office buildings and such? That's wild. Yeah, that's what I think too. The Dark Crystal Revival assisted in that. In this book they do. That's incredible. That is incredible. That makes sense. That makes sense. As soon as you make it as like supernatural beings with like mundane office jobs, I get it. Yeah. The orc worked in IT. I love it. I love it. But yeah, it was funny yesterday. This electro swing is kind of reminding me of it. It's like not the same, but kind of the same. You know how I told you guys was it last week, how I sent an email to our DJ for our reception about like our different song choices and things like that? And I put in like additional notes that my mom insisted that a polka be played. But she had no preference. It wasn't necessarily like, she doesn't traditionally want like a traditional polka, but she wants a song with a beat that is polka-able, if that makes sense. But anyway, so I didn't think anything of it. So then he emailed me yesterday being like, oh, I'm, going through and compiling your songs. Does your mom have any specific polka requests? And so I messaged her being like, do you have one in mind? And she's like, not really. This one's all right. But she's like, I'm pretty sure Weird Al Yankovic does some pretty good polka medleys. So why don't you just say any of those? And so I then proceeded to go through and find all the Weird Al Yankovic pop song polka medleys. And they're pretty great. So I sent that to him. I was like, so my mom has requested Weird Al. And honestly, I think that was a very good in on her. Yeah. But yeah, so he does like I don't know if it's every album he's released or every couple albums or maybe even multiple on the same album. He'll do a medley of like different songs that'll be on a theme, but they'll be to like a polka beat. So he has one called Polka Face, where it's like, it samples, it's like parodies of Poker Face, Katy Perry's I Kissed a Girl, Baby Are You Down, I don't know who sings that song, like just a bunch of sort of pop songs of that general time period. I guess 2011 probably, like in the sort of 2010s era. And then there's another one that came out, I think it was the previous couple albums ago. And there's one called The Angry White Boy Polka. So it's all the like rap, rock, and nu metal songs that he then turns into a polka song. So it's really cool. He is pretty fantastic. I still want to be able, I need to be able to find a way to watch his, what is it, that like biopic starring Daniel Radcliffe as him. I think it was on like the Roku channel. I don't know if we can get that here. But yeah, I just think it would be really funny to watch. But he is the greatest. So yeah, that's what so we'll see what the DJ thinks. It fits the vibe for sure. But like I said, it was, yeah, she was like, no, I just want to be able to polka at one point. I'm like, okay. This sounds like a zany spy caper, and I'm loving it. Yeah, definitely. I love too that like post Harry Potter, he's just like doing sort of the like wackiest shit. I feel like he's like a really good, like he just has a really good sense of humor and is actually a really good like comedic sort of zany person. There was one, I've not watched it, but I thought it was interesting, where isn't it like him and Paul Dano and Daniel Radcliffe is like a reanimated body or something like that? And they get, like, stranded somewhere. I don't entirely know the concept, but I just remember seeing, like, ads for it. Being like, this is wacky as hell. And I think that would be really cool. That's true, exactly. It's one of those where it's like, I don't need the paycheck, so I can just do, like, really cool, quirky indie films that will, like, test me and help me flex my, like, acting chops. The movie's so weird. Yeah? Oh, you've seen it. Yeah. That's awesome. That's what it's called. Yeah. Swiss Army Man. Okay. The other thing that's like, well, not kind of cool, but I'm proud of myself in terms of this pattern, because when I bought it, I didn't have the exact colors that were needed for the coffee cup. But I understood what they were trying to accomplish. So basically they have like, it's like a tonal thing where there's a bit of darker shading. It's really hard to sort of tell, but it's very subtle sort of shading between these and even between like the bits of brown and whatever. And so I just went through and like consulted my, my like color card thing and sort of like tried to fit the same tone and vibes as opposed to like frantically going out and buying the exact shades. And I think it looks really good, so I'm not, like, too worried about it. But I thought that was really good because, you know, you guys know me and my innate desire to follow the rules, even if the rules are kind of arbitrary. One of them being, if somebody makes a pattern and they say these are the colors of the pattern, my brain is like, we have to do the colors of the pattern because those be the rules of the pattern. Even though, you know, people can do what they want. I see people do modifications to cross stitches all the time, but it's hard for me to wrap my brain around it. But I did this time, so that was good. That was nice. Because I was like, in my brain, I was like, it's a coffee cup. I could make it any color I wanted. So in the thing, it is like a blue. But I was like, technically, if I wanted to make it red, I could have made it red, or I could have done, you know. It's not like it's, I don't know, like a horse or a tree or whatever that like has specific colors that you need to abide by. I guess even within reason, there's like fluctuations between that. But I feel like I would struggle a bit more if somebody was like, these are the colors of this pattern. And then I'd be like, okay, I should be using those. But I was like, it's a coffee cup. It can be any color. It could be pink. It could be purple. So it doesn't have to be the color I want it to be. Yeah. Because I also, like, not being funny, I have so many floss colors that I really should use what I have, you know? Obviously, like, there's certain things, like, even this, I managed to do the sort of shading variations and stuff. I do find, though, with some things, it can be difficult if, let's say, they have a lot of, like, shading or a lot of, like, color mixing, and obviously you're using, like, 4 colors that are just kind of, like, a slight shade different. Sometimes I think you kind of need the entire spectrum in order to, like, do the pattern justice. But this one was just 2 colors for the actual cup itself, and so that was a bit easier to sort of mimic and, like, I guess fake into doing the same, like, achieving the desired results, I guess is the correct term. I really should. I'm trying to move this closer to me, but then I'm realizing now that you guys now can't really see it. We do this. And we do this. And now we can see it a little bit better. There we go. Cool. But yeah, again, I am always, like, in awe of people who just, like, wing stuff. I remember the first time, I think it was, like, the 2nd or 3rd cross stitch ever I was gonna do, and I really liked this particular cross stitch pattern, because I really liked the foresty nature bit of it, but there was, like, this giant deer in the frame. And I was like, I don't really like the deer. Like, I would be really, if the deer wasn't there, like, this would be perfect. I would love it. And then my aunt was like, oh yeah, you just gotta, you know, like, blend the colors in, and you could basically, like, get rid of the deer via, like, your stitching, just kind of, and I was like, this is, like, my 2nd or 3rd cross stitch I've ever done in my entire life, Auntie. I'm not ready to just go off script and basically erase a section of the pattern. I'm like, my brain does not work like that. I'm like, no. Her brain does, though, like, because she's, you know, she's crafty as hell, and she can, like, whip shit up, like, no problem. But I was like, my brain can't do that yet. Maybe it could now, but I think it's, like, I could move components around on a blank space, but this was, like, a full coverage piece, and it would be, like, erasing a section of a full coverage piece and turning it into something else. I was like, no. Right? Exactly. It was very ambitious. I was like, listen. No. Oh, it's really cold earlier. I had this amazing cardigan that I got for my birthday, and it's got little ghosties on it. And so I was very excited to wear it on stream, but I think I'm actually a little bit warm, so I'm gonna take it off. But it's super cute. Watch, it'll be one of those temperatures again where wearing the cardigan, it's too warm, but taking the cardigan off, it's too cold, and I need to find some, like, silly in-between formation. But for now, I think we'll be okay. Whoa. Alrighty then. Let's do this. Yeah, they're little ghosts. You can see their little faces. That is true, actually. I do have a couple button downs. Flannel button downs that would achieve that as well. I think I'm okay right now, but to be fair, I was thinking about wearing that, and then I was like, little ghosts though. But yeah, I have a green one that's, like, really nice and soft and not super thick. I have a knitted cardigan that I wear every day at work because it's so cold. Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, it's the same one? Ooh, yeah, definitely. That's not good. Ooh, that would suck. I know, because Liam, obviously, he works in IT, and I know they have a server room that obviously has to stay a certain temperature, but I'm pretty sure they have I'm pretty sure they have two separate AC lines, like one for the office and one for the comms room. So that would suck. Because it would have to stay super cold all the time so everything doesn't overheat. But yeah, work cardigans are, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's one of those where I feel like you need, like, if you work in an office building that has, like, inconsistent temperature, you almost need to have, like, your arsenal of, like, work-appropriate loungewear, where you're like, I would like to basically wrap myself in a blanket, but, like, it's, like, blanky, but make it corporate. You know what I mean? So that's when you get those, like, really nice, like, big, oversized, like, floofy cardigans, but, like, it also looks, like, kind of bougie at the same time. So you're basically wearing a blanket, but you could also crush a board meeting in it. And those things do exist. I have house shoes for my desk. Yeah. That's another thing too, like if you have to wear like corporate wear, so if you're wearing like a skirt or like pants with like dress shoes and you have to wear like the thin little dress socks or like pantyhose with them and stuff, I'm sure your feet get really cold. It's a lot chillier today when Shadow and I went for a W than I thought it was going to be, but I had bundled up. It was one of those things where when the sun was out, it was really nice and warm and I needed to like readjust the varying layers I had on, and then as soon as the sun went behind the cloud, it got really windy. I was like, well, it's a good thing I brought this extra layer. Oh, do you? Do you find, like, do your feet get warm really easily when you're, like, walking and stuff? Or do they, like, swell up in things when you're walking a lot? Because there are, yeah, 100% there's people who are, like, 24/7. Or, like, you know, it's, like, the equivalent of, like, shorts in the winter people as well. There's both. Or is it just, like, a comfort thing? Yeah, we've been almost stitching at this. You have a thing about touch shoes. Okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah. I feel too, like, I feel like also there are almost like, well, I don't know if they do it with like flip-flops, but I know they do it with like Crocs and stuff where you can get, like, you have like your summer clogs. Like your summer Crocs, and then you can get like winter ones that are like fuzzy and insulated and stuff like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if they have like, well, I think they do, because I know that you can get flip-flops that have like big fuzzy pom-poms on the tops of them and stuff. So they must do like fuzzy, I feel like fuzzy flip-flops probably exist. I grew up in Birkenstocks, yeah. Yeah, your feet are like, we will not be contained. Would they? Yeah, that's true. My feet are so cold in our house usually, so I have like slippers that I wear and they have a bit of like fuzzy lining in them. But I'm not sure because like I definitely feel like I need some sort of slipper in the house. I don't know. I might need like a thinner non-fuzzy version for the summertime, but we'll see. Because I think my feet will be too cold without them, but too warm with them. So I need like an in-between one for the summer. But who knows, maybe I won't. I think especially too, like in the summer, because I'm wearing more like flip-flops or sandals and things like that. When I'm walking around the house, I find I really struggle to just like be barefoot. I don't know, it's like a sensory thing where I feel like, or I don't like when my feet get really crusty and dried out and stuff. Like it just is like a sensory thing that really bothers me. And so I always need to have socks on and things. So I feel like if I'm, you know, wearing sandals outside, I don't know. Maybe I need like house socks. I need socks waiting for me by the door when I get in from wearing sandals. But yeah. Yeah, it's not fuzzy. That's nice. Did you ever have, I feel like it's not really a thing anymore, but I feel like, did you guys ever experience the toe sock craze? I remember I had a couple pairs and I just thought like they were the coolest, most random things ever. But the problem is your feet got so cold when you wore toe socks because you don't realize how all your toes staying all bunched together in a sock helps like keep them all insulated from each other. And as soon as you have individual little pockets for each toe, I just remember my toes always being freezing every time I wore them. Oh, absolutely. It was one of those where like it was a novelty thing. I know that there's those like, I don't know if they're rock climbing or like hiking shoes. I know there's a certain type of shoe that you can get that's like individual toes. And when those came out, everyone was like, oh my god, these are gross. Yeah. You had several pairs. Yeah, it was such a bizarre feeling. It seemed like such a cool idea, and then in execution, it was underwhelming. What did you say about gloves? Yeah, that's true. I think especially in Canadian winters. Yeah, you can't do the little finger mittens. Vibrams. You had some? How did you find them? I would assume that would make your feet feel very claustrophobic. Ah, Aurora, thank you so much for the resub. Good afternoon, good afternoon. They kind of remind me like of like water shoes in a way. Hello, hello. I hope you're having a fabulous Tuesday. We're just talking about toe socks. And how those seemed like they were a little bit of a cultural moment and seemed like an excellent idea, but then your toes got really cold. Hey man, you've been busy. Life and things. I appreciate whenever you have a chance to stop by. When little man gives you a minute. No, yeah, not toeless, just the toe. It's the whole sock, but where you would put your toes, it's like individual little nubs, like a mitten for your feet. So it would be an entire sock, but then all the individual toes would have their own little compartment. And I feel like I thought they were so cool, but then when I wore them, you realize that your feet get really, No! Fabulous, I mean, he peed on himself twice. Oh no, silly baby. Silly baby. I guess it's good that it wasn't poop, you know? I guess there's probably moments where, like, that probably seems really frustrating, but I'm sure you've had even worse experiences to be like, in terms of things, that wasn't the worst, you know? That happened the other day when I was talking about, like, Poomageddon with Shadow and how, you know, he dragged poo in the house and it's, like, really frustrating, but then Liam was talking to his coworker and how he was at, like, I don't know if I talked to you guys about this, but he was at a coworker was retiring, and they were doing, like, leaving drinks and things like that. Oh, no, then after we went, we cleaned him up. Oh, no! He's really just... He woke up today and chose chaos, didn't he? He's like, I'm gonna be a little pain in the butt today. Oh, you worked out in the food test. Oh, yeah. Ooh, that would feel really gross. That would feel really gross working out in those. But yeah, and so I was like, oh, like, this is really frustrating. But then this guy that Liam was working with was late to his own retirement party because he had to take his greyhound to the vet because they had broken their leg. And then he was talking to another woman who has two Frenchies, French bulldogs. And they have, like, one of them has really bad allergies, and one of them, like, needs to go for back surgery next year, and the insurance that she's paying on the dogs is, like, £500 a month. And I'm like, okay, I guess if, you know, every once in a while Shadow steps in poop and tracks it on the house, at least he's not giving us an exponential vet bill every month, you know? So I was like, perspective. I was like, I did not enjoy it. It was not fun. But also, considering he's mostly greyhound and the most he's sort of, like, come out with is some, like, pretty gnarly scrapes. Oh, I think that's what it was. It wasn't that the dog broke their leg. It was that they had done something that they needed, like, 7 stitches or something like that. And I was like, thank God, Shadow's never needed stitches. He's just, like, cut his leg up, and then we've, like, monitored it to make sure, like, there's not ever been an infection, and he's never had anything, so. Their leg bones, honestly, it was actually hilarious the other day. We were over at my in-laws' place, and Shadow was outside, and it was really sunny. And there's, like, the way I describe it is, like, there's, like, their leg bone, and then there's, like, the tendons that attach to the muscle or whatever. And then there's just skin, right? And so when it's really sunny, you can actually, like, see through his leg a little bit. And so my father-in-law just saw this almost, like, kind of red patch on the back of Shadow's leg in the distance and was like, oh my God, like, did he hurt himself? And we're like, no, it's because where that is just, like, skin, and so it's so thin that when it's really sunny, light almost kind of shines through it like a sun catcher. It's really bizarre. Larry's gonna do, oh, no problem. Thank you so much for your work in Lark. I always appreciate when you are here. You fabulous human being. I hope work goes well, and I hope you continue to live your cozy grandpa coffee drinking dreams. Yeah, he does. He was acting like an absolute buffoon today. His new thing now is just jumping in puddles. Well, not jumping in puddles, but, like, acting very silly in water and then getting the zoomies. So I wanted to post this later, but I will... Let's see if you guys can see this. Yep. Straight in the water. Excuse me. What do you think you're doing? That's a bit deep for you. Thanks. Just, you know. Shadow. So that's his new thing now, is like, yeah. Thanks, bud. Not all the time. I think as it gets warmer, because it got really warm a few days. And then, of course, I told you guys when we go to the dog park, when there's no dogs around, if there's dogs in this little pond, he's like, absolutely immediately no. But if we go to the dog park and this little pond area doesn't have any doggies in it actively, he likes to just walk in there, just like up to his legs or like up to his butt and just like walk around and stuff. And it was only there that he ever did. Exactly, yeah, just cooling off his feetsies. And so it seems to be like a thing now where certain places where we walk, if he finds like a little bit of a creek or a little bit of a pond, he will go in and cool off his feetsies in there. Which is giving Liam and I optimism that he might actually use his paddling pool this year. Because we got him a paddling pool. I've told you guys this a few times. And he just like refuses to use it despite the fact that he's like, we can tell he's really hot. Because I think all of the other instances, it's like, you know, like with a pond or whatever, there's no lip that he has to step over to get into. He can just walk into it, right? And so we're thinking that might be, you know, because the pool has a lip, he might be associating it with like bath time. Whereas with like ponds and creeks, it's like a shallow wade in and then he's able to like cool himself off and stuff. But I'm hoping as he's been like searching out water more that he might actually use it this year, which would be nice because it's apparently meant to be really freaking hot again this summer. So we shall see. He is. He's such a little princess. He's such a princess, but then, like I said, he just goes jumping into puddles. And I'm like, that's not very princess behavior, is it? We had to give him his like worm prevention treatment today. Or yesterday. We were supposed to give it to him a few days ago, but I kept forgetting. It wasn't like overdue or anything, but by a few days. And Liam was like, okay, I'll do it. And when I tell you, like, the flea treatment is fine because it's like a little pipette that you squeeze on the back of their neck, and that's okay. But this thing he has to eat. And when he had one first as a puppy, he used to, you know, eat it, no problem, whatever. But this dog is just like the sussiest little princess in all the land, where even if you're giving him his absolute favorite things with this pill in it, or around it, or even near it, even his favorite things, like, you know how most dogs, you would drop a bit of food and they just go for it. They eat first, ask questions later. He'll, like, stare at it, sniff it, take it in his mouth, bring it over somewhere else, spit it out, take a sniff, and then be like, oh, okay, I will eat it. And we're like, dude, it's your favorite thing in the whole wide world. Why are you being weird about it? So, and the thing, too, is these wormer tablets are massive, right? And so we have to break it up into about 4 pieces. And even too, like, we, you know, his favorite thing in the world is chicken. So we put it in between a couple pieces of chicken, right? Not interested. He was like, I know what you're doing. And it's absolutely unacceptable. And so even to the point where Liam took the wormer tablet out of the chicken and just had the chicken, and he sniffed it and was like, the worming tablet has touched it. It is contaminated. I will not eat it. And we're like... So finally, I think we did a combination of, like, Liam had a bit of, like, cream that he had whipped up the other day that was left over. So it was, like, a little bit of cream, a little bit of, like, cheese, a little bit of chicken, a little bit of peanut butter, like, all of his favorite things in, like, little iterations. And then what you do, what seems to work, is you make him feel like he's not supposed to have it. And so Liam would put a little bit, like, on the coffee table and tell Shadow, like, okay, yes, you can go and eat it. And then as soon as Shadow starts to eat it, like, Liam then chases after him, being like, oh, I'm gonna get you, I'm gonna get it, you know, to try to pretend like, oh, I'm gonna, like, sort of chase you around and get it out of your mouth. And so I think then he thinks, oh, shit, I'm not supposed to have this, and then he'll swallow it. But it's, like, a certain combination you have to do, because then what he will do is he will take it, eat around what he wants, and then meh, out the stuff he doesn't want. And then also, too, because those worming tablets, like, they're kind of dissolvable and, like, very kind of chalky, which is probably why he hates them. I get that. But the thing is, the more times he limbs it out, the like harder it is to then like reconstitute and try to give it to him again, because it just gets all dissolvey and crumbly and mushy, and you're just like we shove our dog's meds in American cheese. We're like, oh yeah, see, I don't know, man. I think it's because I think if we could find one that we could break up into smaller pieces, it would be a little bit easier. But yeah, so it's a struggle. Luckily, it only has to happen every 3 months, so it's like not the worst, but it's like a big ordeal. And then of course afterwards too, I'm not sure. I'm sure with like any medications and stuff, right? Like it can cause a bit of stuff. So I think he had a lot of gas last night, and he was like, I don't know, like he was being annoying really, but we think he was like, his tummy was like, I don't know, I think he was gassy or whatever. And so he just kept whining, but like kind of didn't know what he wanted, and we couldn't like really, like, you know, he wanted pets, but he didn't want to come up on the sofa. He wanted to play, then he didn't. He wanted treats, and then he didn't want treats. And so he was just kind of like a bit forlorn and not knowing what to do with himself, and then making it our problem. To the point where I think it was like at 2 a.m, because sometimes he wants to go outside to go pee. So I think he went outside, and then he was still whining, and I was like, well, he's already been outside, like, what's going on? And then I walked downstairs, and he just wanted to lean on me for pets. And I'm like, dude, it's 2 a.m. I'm not just gonna sit here and like have you lean on me and pet me at 2 a.m. Like, figure it out. Come into bed, or like lay down and go to sleep. Like, we're not gonna do this right now. So I wasn't sure how I was gonna feel this morning to go on a W, but as soon as like, you know, as soon as I finished my breakfast, he was like, okay, cool, let's go do the thing. Let's go. Come on, chop chop, let's go. So we did, and we had a good time. So he's obviously feeling better today. But I wasn't sure if maybe it was the wormer that was causing his stomach to feel a bit iffy, or the fact that we gave him all of these like high reward like treats to get him to eat the wormer. It probably could be a bit of column A, bit of column B, because we give him little bits and pieces every once in a while. But the fact that it was like, okay, we're trying to give you like the most, you know, intense, flavorful, smelly stuff that distracts from the worm smell. So that could have been what made him uncomfortable as well. Pill pockets work really well too. Gus and Al love snacks, and they rarely get them. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's really good. I think maybe too, that's probably to our detriment as well, because like Shadow gets all sorts of Treatos all the goddamn time. So it's not nearly as exciting. To be fair, we thought that the chicken would be, because usually that's like the highest of the reward items. He was still sus. He's just a very sussy boy. He's like, obvious, like, yeah. He's too smart for his own good. It was so funny because he was trying to give it to him, and I was video chatting with my parents, and I was like watching them through the process, being like, look at this boy. He's so difficult and stuff. My mom was like, well, yeah, I wouldn't want that either. You know, if I was having to eat a giant pill that tasted yucky, I would also be a bit sus and grumpy about it. And I'm like, yeah, okay, fine, I guess so, but, like, also. So, yeah. So my mom was like, I get it, Shadow, you're fine. And I was like, not helpful. One of the things we're, well, this is a new thing that we're gonna do. So obviously we have our reception coming up next month, and usually, you know, when we have events and things like that, we usually get people in the family to puppy sit Shadow. But obviously all of them are gonna be at the reception. All of our friends and family are gonna be there, and so we're like, well, in this case, like, you know, there could be an instance where we do have some, like, a family member who's able to watch them, but if they want to be at the event, we don't want to, like, basically tell them that that's not an option. So we were like, I said to Liam last night, I was like, oh, maybe we need to look into finding, like, a dog sitter for the evening. And he was like, oh yeah, I guess we should kind of look into that. And it was very similar to me when we were looking to book the DJ, where you type in, like, you know, dog sitters in the area or whatever, and there's like 5 different websites with different profiles and different options you could go through and whatever, and it all got like a little bit overwhelming. I think there's one that like seems legit, but I was like, well, I don't know. if it's, you know, if this is a good one. It looks good. It looks really nice. And, like, there's people on there that look legit. But I'm not sure. And so, coffee all the way. Excuse me, P. Excuse me. You're just saying that to rile me up, aren't you? I know what you're like. Good afternoon. I hope you're doing well. I hope you have a beverage of choice, whether it be coffee, tea, Mountain Dew, Pepsi Max, whatever your flavor. Yeah. We've only used one girl before, and she was the best. Yeah. So that was the thing, too. So I was like, well, we have other friends that have dogs. They don't live, like, directly near us, but maybe if I ask them, they might have used, like, a particular app or a particular website or whatever. And so I asked them, and they were like, oh, no, we found our, like, dog sitters, dog walkers, like, purely by chance in the area. And I'm like, shit, okay, well, never mind. So we'll see. But I don't know, because there's this one called, like, Rover or something. Like, there's a few different sort of sites that, like, collate different kind of dog walkers. And then I also went to different websites, and it seems to be like there's sort of, sometimes there's like people that are on a couple different sites or people only on one site. And so I don't know, but this one seemed like clean, nice, legit, and there's like people possibly in the area. So I guess it doesn't hurt to just message them and be like, yo, because a lot of them also, some of them are like, oh, certified, like, dog behaviorists and, you know, certified, you know, dog psychologist and skilled on, like, medicine and blah, 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 and all these different things. And I'm like, I just literally need you to sit on the sofa and binge watch a show with my dog for 6 hours. That's all. I don't need, like, all these bells and whistles and stuff like that. So, I don't know, we'll see. But I'm on the hunt. Because there's dog walkers in the area, so I was thinking about maybe asking them, but I also don't want them to be like, oh, I could do it, I'm available. Because then I'd be like, oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I trust you, Pete. Yeah. Coffee is the best. I said it, I win. Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm not bad tired. Oh, you're tired. Oh, that's annoying. I'm doing really good, though. It'll be funny, though, because you'll say that, and then you'll be like, okay, Shadow, we're going to go for a little car ride, and he will whine in your ear the whole time that you'll get so frustrated, you'll turn around and give him back. No, he's worth it. It was funny, because at the afternoon tea, my friend was asking if Shadow was going to be at the reception. And I was like, oh no, like he's, first of all, I don't even think that the venue allows dogs at the venue. But I said, oh no, like he's too big and that would be like too overwhelming and stuff. Cause she has she has a little Chihuahua and a Chihuahua pug mix. And her sister got married last year. And they were there. So like her one dog had a little bow tie and the other one had like a little flower bow. But obviously it was, like, really overwhelming for them, so they were only there for, like an hour or something, and then they went and stayed in, like, the hotel room after. But the thing is, I feel like if we left Shadow in a hotel... Well, first of all, that's not necessary, it won't be an option. I think if we left Shadow in a hotel room by himself, we would be having to pay some sort of damages deposit. Not, like, a crazy amount, but there would just probably be scratches on the door and stuff like that. Give Shadow a tennis ball, yeah. If you throw it, he'll run real fast. Only if he's interested. Other times, I throw the tennis ball and he just looks at me like, what do you want me to do with that? I'm busy sniffing stuff. I'm like, okay, fine, I'll go and get it. We found out the other day, well, sort of through process of deduction. So when we leave Shadow, sometimes we go to the front, but we have a back door that we go under garage to drive our car or whatever. And so the door leading out in the kitchen is sort of like 2 doors, and then there's sort of like a wooden frame and then sort of 2 windows either side, like long windows kind of framing the door. And the other day, I noticed that on the wooden frame on either side, there were these like I don't know, like scratches or markings on either side of these, like, this wooden frame. And I was like, oh shit, like, I guess, like, I'm wondering when we leave or when we're coming back, because sometimes Shadow jumps up on the door when we're coming home. Maybe he, like, misses the door and he ends up accidentally, like, pawing at these bits of wood or whatever, and that's why they're looking all, like, a bit mangled and stuff like that. Because he did that. We had this little pocket door that we used to leave him in the living room with. We didn't let him in the kitchen before, just because we thought it would be easier, or it, like, I don't know. I can't remember what the logic was, but we did that, and then he would scratch at those doors. So there's, like, big old scratch marks in those. So we're like, okay, shit, maybe that's the thing. So I told Liam about it, and he was looking at it, and he's like, I don't think those are scratch marks, because there's, like, perfect sort of indents on either side along this sort of pillar. And he's like, I'm pretty sure he's chewing on it. And we're like, oh, okay. That's a new thing. And it's on both sides, too, which is weird because the bins are there. So I didn't even know if he was able to have access to that particular spot on the door frame. But yeah, so that's a new thing. That possibly. So we don't know. I'll have to check because the camera we have, well, that we can watch him while he's in the house while we're gone, is in the living room, and so we can see into the kitchen kind of, but I don't know if we can see. I think maybe we could, like, see far enough to be able to tell if he's chewing on it or not. But yeah, so that's interesting, because I think the thing too, like, there is, like, because I've talked to you guys about this before, and I know it is also part of my own anxiety, but, like, gearing up that leaving alone training with him, I feel like I've gotten Shadow, both of us are confident, more so me. I think for the first hour, regardless of how long we leave him, he's, like, not happy about it, right? And then after the first, like, half hour, 45 minutes to an hour, he's like, oh, okay, like, I'll chill. So I think I can probably leave him for 4 hours, like that, or that feels like that's the longest so far. And obviously the reception itself is 6 hours, but that's, like, how long we have the rental for. And so obviously that doesn't account for all the running around we're doing on the day, and, like, by the time we get back and all this kind of stuff. So really it's gonna be maybe closer to 8 hours, right? 8 or 9. And so that would then be, like, almost double. That I think would be too much for him. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but we'll figure it out. So the other thing that my friend recommended is maybe asking our groomer if they have any suggestions, but we don't have, like, a local groomer, so I don't know if they would know about like, dog sitters and things in the area. So once this coffee cup is filled in, there's just a bit of back stitching on the cup and a bit of, like, little back stitching steam coming out of the cup. And then the whole thing is done. If we are able to finish this, I also might see if I can, like, fully finish it. But that might require the iron. I'm not sure. Because I think I've showed you guys a few times how I finish my cross stitches and hoops, where I back them with felt and some fabric. So I need to see if I have a piece of fabric and the pieces of felt, because I still have, like, some felt rolls, but I'm not sure if I have, like, if they're big enough. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So whether or not we actually, like, fully finish the project, or we just finish the stitching component today and then swap over to the needle felting project, we'll see. Or, who knows, we might not actually finish filling all of this in, because even though it looks like not a lot of stitches, like, it doesn't, you know, in the grand scheme of things, this is, like, a small amount. Let me actually check, because I think this project, or this thing, gives me stats. Hang on. Let me, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me cross off everything I've done so far, and then it'll tell me the number of stitches we have left and the percentage that we have completed so far. 2, 3. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so that's roughly. So let's go to info. So, according to this, we are 85% complete the project, and we have 291 stitches left to go. So, we'll see. It's saying estimated days to completion 2 days, but I would like to do it in 1 day, but we'll see. So yeah, so this is still, like, considering that all of this is done and the fact that there's still 85% to go, 291 stitches. So we've done 1,653 stitches. In total, there will be 1,944. So who knows? Hopefully, though. I feel like I put in, like, a lot of progress. And that's the thing. It doesn't seem like it because it's not a full coverage piece and it's just words in a cup. But the fact that this is, like, over 1,000 stitches just puts into perspective, like, when people do full coverage cross-stitch pieces, how many stitches they are. Like, it's kind of bananas when you think about it. But yeah, I feel like this is new, or at least, like, because I've managed to match, like, color match everything. Because the Party Phantasma, I don't think I was able to get the stats and things because the key, the stitch key that I posted, I think it was a bit too blurry for the camera to, like, for the software to pick it up. And so, it couldn't break down the various, like, colored stitches and things like that. I think it maybe does the whole thing. Let me just check. Because it'd be interesting to put it into perspective. Like some of the other projects we've worked on together, like how many stitches those were. If it will let me. Info. No, this is an old one, so I don't know if it has all of the details. Just this one? I don't know how accurate it is, but... Oh yeah, no problem. Hi, Ray. Good morning. Yes, please. Yeah, feel free. Lurk away. I always appreciate you. This is telling me that the Party Phantasma cross-stitch that we've been working on, whether or not this is true or not, this feels a bit ridiculous in my brain, but maybe it is this many. There's over 9,000 stitches in the Party Phantasma cross-stitch, which seems like a lot. Like a lot. But maybe that is what it is. But just to put it into perspective, right? Like there's over, like I think on average, most cross-stitch patterns, unless they're really tiny, are like over 1,000 stitches easy. Which is wild. And that's why they take so goddamn long. That is why they take so long. Ooh. We'll see. We have what? Let's do some maths. Let's do some math. Just out of curiosity. Because I don't know if the back stitching is included in that stitch breakdown. I don't think it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oops. We're just doing this. So we need to do 280 stitches. Okay, let's do math. Let's do math. So we have what? Like an hour and a half of stream. So that's 90 minutes. Oops, that's not the right one. Okay, so 90 minutes for 280 stitches. So 280 stitches divided by 90 minutes is 3.11. So we need to do 3 stitches a minute. That seems doable. That seems doable. I don't know. That seems fine. That seems possible. I guess that's like stitching straight through, you know, that's not accounting for like tea breaks and chit chats and all that fun stuff, but I don't know. That seems not bad, but maybe I'm just being, you know, naively optimistic. Whoop. So what I'm hoping to do, I'm not actually sure what I want to do on Thursday, because I know we've not played Strange Horticulture for a week now. So maybe we'll do that, but I'm also really into this craft kit currently, so the only concern obviously is when you like walk away from a game for a little bit, by the time you come back to it, you're like, I don't know where the hell I am. So I'm a bit concerned about like leaving that for too long, because then we will just completely lose the plot. So maybe we'll work on that we'll do that on Thursday, just so that we don't completely forget what we're doing. The only thing with that is obviously where we left off is we need to solve 3 of our Oracle card puzzles, and I didn't know how to solve them. So we're going to be entering into that game in a conundrum. So yeah, that's me with Dreamlight Valley right now. Yeah, I just want to finish the path for all the boots. Yeah, because I told you guys how I bought it on my Steam, because Liam had it on like the Xbox, and I was silly and didn't want to save my profile on the cloud. I was like, I'll save it on the physical computer and whatever, not thinking like, oh yeah, bitch, maybe you want to transfer your game file somewhere else. So if I do play it on Steam on my PC, I would be starting from the beginning, which is fine, but then I still gotta do that. But it's cool that there's amusement park stuff. I think that's the thing, and I get why. Like, it totally makes a lot of sense for, you know, for game developers and things like that. Like, the whole point is, especially with, like, drops and things like that. That was interesting, too. Someone had posted on Saul's Discord about the fact that, like, Dreamlight's even doing, like, stream drops right now for different things, which is really cool. Just because usually I see things like about games doing drops and stuff in there, you know, like Call of Duty or like, you know, League, or games that like I've never played, never will play, don't understand. So I was like, well, that's cool that they do drops for something that I actually could play. But I just haven't played it yet. But anyway, so what I was saying is I do appreciate why they do that, because obviously the whole point is like replayability and getting you logging in every day and doing all this kind of stuff. But my brain just doesn't work like that. I don't know. I guess I'm not so into it that I'm like checking every other day to like get the drops and do the things. The closest you'll get me to doing that is on Best Fiends. But that's because it's on my phone and I play it so often because it's like easily accessible. So I'm not like physically logging on to anything to then play these games. I think that's the thing. Like, it sounds really silly, but it's like if I'm sitting downstairs hanging out with Liam and stuff, like my instinct isn't to be like, oh, I'm gonna go upstairs and play games right now. I'd rather stay and chill with him, and if he's watching something I'm not really interested in, instead of like leaving the room and doing something else, I still want to spend time with him. Just went into playing phone games. I'd delete my phone games because I was trying to buy things all the time. Every once in a while I do get that itch, but luckily I've never indulged. But I could see if that is a potential trigger for you to not have those. Absolutely. Especially, to be fair, it does get frustrating when, because you, like, you know, in order for you to unlock new fiends, it is by chance. But you could theoretically spend real money to buy all of the fiends and unlock them all that way. And some of them are really cute. So I could see the temptation being there for some. I encountered my first like real pain in the ass moment of, you know how I deleted Twitter and Facebook off my phone? And now it's like not been a huge deal because all I do is, you know, when I'm on the computer, I'll check stuff. But I finally wanted to post something on Facebook the other day because normally I post things on Instagram and it auto completes like that shares and stuff. But there was a certain thing that I didn't necessarily want. Like it was more like for privacy issues for other people. I didn't want to post their photos on my Instagram because it's a public Instagram. But I wanted to share them with my family, and so ergo, that's where Facebook, that's where all the family members are, right? So share something on Facebook, but of course, all of the photos were on my phone, and they were on my iPhone, so I had to go through this whole rigmarole of uploading them to my drive, downloading them onto my PC, then remembering that iPhones have this dumb photo thing, and they get saved as an HEIC file, which most softwares can't read on the computer. So then I had to take the photos and convert them from the HEIC to the JPEG, and then I could upload them onto Facebook. And I was like, if this app was still on my phone, this all could have just been done lickety split with no problem. So that was annoying, but I did it. But, again, like, aside from checking things every once in a while, it was my mom's birthday yesterday. So I posted, like, a happy birthday, like, shout out to her on there. But I would just, like, reshared another photo of us. Because in that way, because I don't see her very often, I don't have a whole lot of photos of us together right now. And also, I don't have access to, like, archival stuff. You know what I mean? Like, that's one of the things I need to ask my parents. I'm like, I would like old family photos. I think my dad's in the process of digitizing them all. So I'm like, if you could bring me like a flash drive or anything with all of the family photos, because I would love to use those for like throwbacks and stuff like that. And I'm sure I have some like, you know, cringy wannabe like scene kid stuff that, you know, would be interesting show and tell fodder. But I don't have access to any of that. So, hi Dej! Good afternoon. How you doing, sir? How are tings? I am trying, I need to finish this by the end of the week. So we are trucking. We worked out I need to finish 3 stitches a minute in order to finish all of this before the end of stream. But that's not including back stitching, so hopefully. But I think I stitch faster than 3 stitches a minute, I think. I've not timed it because I also do like rows of half stitches, so they're not necessarily the individual stitches themselves. But I don't know, we'll see. But that seems doable. It seems doable, so I'm being like naively optimistic about possibly finishing this today. Afternoon, all good, all good. Excellent, glad to hear it. I think it might be snack break time soon. Boop, 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 boop. Alrighty. So, we probably have to cut more of this color because we're on our last strand. It's just the cup, and then there's a bit of back stitching on the cup. So there's like just an outline, and then there's a couple little like steam lines. And then yeah, that's it. It's all done, which is awesome. But that being said, there's still like over 200 stitches I need to do, which is wild. Like, it doesn't seem like much, but you look at this and this entire thing is like over 1,000 stitches. And it's like 90% white space. So yeah, I'm feeling optimistic about it. The only thing I don't know about is after I finish the actual stitching, if I have enough supplies to do the actual like finishing it in the hoop. So I put a layer of fabric and 2 layers of felt in the back and then hot glue it all together so it all stays in place. I don't know if I have big enough felt sheets for this, but I will cross that bridge when I get there. But yeah, it doesn't seem like it is, but then it like puts it into perspective that that's why cross stitches take so gosh dang long, because it's like you're making over 1,000 tiny little crosses on a thing. But luckily, it's going well. I would like to beat, this program I'm using has an estimation that I will complete this in 2 days based on how much I've been able to work on it. It like conducts the average number of stitches that you do like per session. And then it'll be like, oh, based on this estimation of how long you work on it and stuff, you should be done in like this number of days. So it's telling me 2 days, but I'm going to try to beat its estimation and finish it in uno day. But we'll see. Oh yeah, I keep saying I need to have a snack break. So let me do that. Let's open the granola bar. Again, Nature Valley needs to sponsor me. Yeah, it's saying here that my average stitch rate a day is 208 stitches, and we have 280 to do, so I think that's why it's anticipating 2 days. And my average stitch time is 2 hours and 3 minutes. But we're doing 3 hours today, so hopefully that means we'll get more done. But yeah, I basically was like, if I don't, this always happens. You know what? Sometimes what ends up happening is if I don't trust myself to get things done in my own time, I stream it to hold myself accountable. So that's why we're doing this. Because as much as I'm like, oh yeah, possibly in the next couple of days off stream I could finish this, I also didn't know if I trusted myself to do so. Hence, we're streaming it. That's how the baking streams came about, actually, is because I wanted to make cupcakes for our streamiversary, and I was like, I know I'm not going to do this in time, hence the streaming of it. The plan is to eventually do another baking stream, but right now we have a butt ton of no-bake cheesecake in the fridge right now. So until we finish eating that, I need room in the fridge to put baked goods, and right now there is no fridge space for new baked goods. So we gotta eat the old baked goods. So hopefully. Because I think I said last week, I was like, oh yeah, maybe this week or the week after we'll do a baking stream. And I was like, well, the fridge does not allow it. The fridge does not have space for that. So maybe once it does, we can do that. Because I really want to make that Earl Grey pie that I found. Someone do on YouTube. So that is the next baking stream plan. It's just whether or not when that happens. We don't know. Cannot confirm. It does. Oh, how sad for you. Yeah. Right? Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm so forlorn. Woe is me. Okay, we actually need to cut more of that color. Now, what color is it? This one. Boop, 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 boop. There we go. I think I'll just snip one extra long strand, and then there's no point in me cutting a whole bunch more because I'm just like there's no need, but hopefully this will be enough. Yeah, basically what happens is I made emergency backup no-bake cheesecakes for something, and then they weren't needed because they were backup emergency ones. But we still have them. So Liam and I have been every day eating a slice. And at one point, he was like, because we ate one, we had like a snack in the afternoon, and then he was like, can I have 2 slices in one day? I'm like, technically you could. But he was like, it doesn't feel right. So the afternoon tea that I went to on Sunday, they had the option of like a regular or a savory. I don't know if they even do the gluten-free in savory, but I had a gluten-free one. And most of the people had the regular classic one, and then one person had the savory. Yeah. Well, that's the plan. The plan is to have people come over and eat it. To assist. Basically, that was the discussion. It was like, do you want to come over this week and eat cheesecake? So I trust by the end of the week, the majority of it will be gone. So that'll be okay. But there was this really nice, I think the best bit, it's always really funny though, right? Because, when they brought out our afternoon teas on Sunday, they then sit there and they're like, oh, like, do you want me to go over the menu with you? And you're like, okay. And they sit there and they explain it to you, but the woman who was talking about it was like really soft-spoken and had like a bit of a thicker accent. And so all of us were like, we have no idea what we're about to eat. Like, in terms of, obviously we know what the sandwiches kind of are, and like, because you can visually see it, and you know, like, the scones are scones. But the desserts and stuff, some of them were like, mousses wrapped in different things or like different flavors of stuff, and because you didn't really hear what they were, you were like, well, it's like little tiny treat roulette. But it was really good. But my favorite one, they actually did a fig cheesecake slice, just like a little baby one. But I think that was the best treat. And then obviously my favorite savory one, my favorite sandwich is obviously a smoked salmon cream cheese. But I would say my second favorite, I was like really impressed by the like ham and mustard sandwich, because the mustard was like I don't know if it was like a Dijon mustard, but it like had a bit of like a horseradishy kick to it, which usually I'm not a big fan of, but this one was particularly nice. But yeah. So I've been having a few different cheesecakey options lately. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys. I totally forgot. So you know how we have this, you know, we've been discussing the funfetti of it all. So we attempted, and I've told you a couple times about the attempt to make gluten-free funfetti cake has yielded poor results as of late. And so we had theories that because the UK is a lot more strict about their like red dyes and their, you know, their different artificial sweeteners and junk like that, that I was under the impression that possibly the sprinkles in the UK were just not artificial enough to survive being baked in an oven without melting. But so for my brother-in-law's 30th birthday party, Liam was going to recreate the funfetti cake he made for my birthday, but we were going to try to find better sprinkles to see if we could like make the funfetti happen. And then also, Mrs. Bolshe suggested maybe we cover them in like corn flour, because I think a lot of the sprinkles that obviously then I wasn't able to eat, they had wheat starch in them, and we wondered if the wheat starch was actually like a coating to help stop the sprinkles from melting as much. And so not only did we get these like bougie Dr. Edgar like bigger sprinkles, we then also, well, Liam also coated them in corn flour as well before they went into the cake. And I can successfully say that we have achieved funfettiness. It's not like the same level, obviously, because the dyes are a bit more muted, but the actual like little colors dotted in the vanilla cake was achieved. So it can be done. I don't have to make an emergency call out to my parents to bring like an F-ton of artificial sprinkles from Canada when they come to visit. Though I am kind of low-key still tempted just to see. I think it would be fun to get the sprinkles that are meant to cause hyperactivity in children and use those. I was joking about with my other brother-in-law because I said, oh, maybe we need to get the artificial ones. And so my other brother-in-law was like, oh yeah, you should make that for my birthday. And I said, oh yeah, we'll make a funfetti cake with the like really overly processed Canadian sprinkles with the dye that's meant to cause hyperactivity in children. And then we'll tell my nephew he can't have a slice because it's going to be bad for him. Be like, oh, sorry, bud, you can't have the cake because it's meant to cause hyperactivity in you and you're too little. You're not old enough to eat this cake. But then we figured that would be a really shitty thing to do to a 6-year-old. Be like, sorry, you can't have the cake. You're not old enough. It's gonna cause hyperactivity in you, and we know for a fact you don't need to be any more hyper than you already are. But we'll know. We'll see. But yeah, I can't imagine. But yeah, so it worked out, and so I think it seems like all the cake went, because we ended up leaving a bit earlier than everyone else, obviously, because it was getting really dark, and Shadow was getting antsy, and I was getting antsy, so we left a little bit earlier. I say early, we left at like 8 or 9 o'clock. You give him cake and then leave. No, because yeah, that's true. If the party's at your house, then I will do that. But if the party's at our house, then I'm not going to do that, because then the hyperactivity will be in my home, and I don't necessarily want all of that. But yeah, but apparently all of the desserts went, so that's good. So obviously the funfetti was a great success all around. I did manage to snag a piece. Liam got me one before we left, and I had it the other day. And I think because we coated the sprinkles in that corn flour, the sprinkles almost still had a bit of like a crunch to them, which wasn't bad. It was almost like as you were eating the cake, you had like, it's almost similar to like a tiny smaller version of like if you had mini chocolate chips in a cake, and then when you're eating them, you get like a little burst of extra chocolate, but in this it was like a little burst of extra sugar. So that was actually really nice. But I could see, I don't know, because again, funfetti to me, it's similar to like my dill pickle hunt. Here is that it's like I have a sense memory, but whether or not it's just like fueled by nostalgia and it actually does taste a specific way, or if I'm just reimagining how it tastes. So I don't remember funfetti, the sprinkles still maintaining their little bit of a crunch factor in like traditional funfetti cake, but maybe it does. But I'm not saying it's a bad thing that this occurred. It's just different. Who? Mm-hmm. Now I have to double check. I'm pretty sure, because you can't really tell, it's so subtle, but this is a brighter blue than this one down here. And so for the back stitching, I think I'm meant to use the darker blue. One strand. 13 stitches. Does that mean it only wants me to do the top? Oh, that's interesting. I didn't even consider that. It looks like it does. Oh, I thought I was gonna be backstitching the entire cup. I might still do that, but I think it just wants me to like backstitch the top. Interesting. Okay, well, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. And I think the little steam lines are just in classic 310. Do, 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 do. Getting closer. And then of course there's this whole side, but this side's almost done. Oh, it was really funny. On the Sunday when I was going for afternoon tea, I took the train there. So Liam dropped me off at the station, and then I took the train into London, and then had to take the tube, or the subway. And when I was I was texting my friends, and if people were like, "Oh, we're on our way, we're here," we had like a group chat, and I was like, a couple of my friends were like, "Oh, we're on our way," and I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. Like we're going to the same place, so I'm already here. I'll just wait for you guys." So I was waiting down in the tube station for my friends because they were not too far behind, But as I was sitting there, like 4 different people came up to me and asked me for directions of like which tube they had to get on to like get to which place and stuff. And 2 things. First of all, I usually assume, or I have been told in the past, that I have resting bitch face. And so that led me to believe that I was very unapproachable. You know what I mean? But then like 4 people approached me and asked for directions, so I was like, well, obviously I'm approachable enough. I look knowledgeable enough. Which also too was like, oh, I clearly look like a Londonite who knows what the hell I'm doing, for people to come up and ask me questions. The second thing though, is I am completely directionally challenged and can't give instructions for shit. But thankfully, my phone, like internet, Wi-Fi and stuff worked in the underground. So I was able to use this, there's this app called City Mapper, that you can use that will give you like the trains and the tubes you would take to get to point A to point B. So I was just like city mapping stuff for people. So luckily I had like my phone and an app for me to do it, or else I would have been like, you're like, I don't know. I'm SOL, buddy. Like, I have no idea. But yeah. But I found out because, oh, Is it one of those that you didn't realize you had it? I guess that's true through, like, because before when everybody was masking more frequently, you could almost hide your expressions under your mask. So, like, if people were, like, really pissing you off or being really annoying, like, you could make, like, a stank face and it wouldn't be as noticeable. But now if you're not masking as frequently, like, your expression's gonna be on your face and everyone's gonna see it. But yeah, so I don't know, but it was interesting. Just recently realized. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Oh, right. Yes. No, you mean masking in the autism sense. I thought you meant masking as in, like, physically masking. But now I know what you mean. And yes, no, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, you mean masking in the social sense. Yes. Yeah. But that's probably good. Like, I don't know. I feel like it's probably less exhausting to, well, I think it probably is. It's probably less exhausting to not be masking all the time. And also too, I don't know, like, cause maybe sometimes people want to be approached and other people are like, do not perceive me ever. So it could be a good defense mechanism. I say my peace of mind. Yeah. Yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you're not hiding behind like agreeability and stuff like that. It was interesting, so I was talking to my friend about this. Actually, I was talking to Aurora about this. About like when you have to deal with like, you know, like professionals sort of like stringing you about or like being really difficult or whatever. And like, I think it seems to be like sometimes I think it could be just people's personality, but it seems to be, you know, like people who are socialized as female. There seems to be this socialization factor of like you need to be very agreeable and very accommodating and like no, it's fine and like no big deal. And I think a lot of us are like that. Then when it gets a bit deeper, it then becomes like people pleasing mentality and all that kind of stuff, right? And we're sort of socialized from a young age to sort of do that. And then when, like, for instance, when you're, like, trying to get stuff done, like, so what happens, so I had an example, and she had one as well, but the example I have is, like, my grandparents' basement flooded last winter, and the insurance company was supposed to be, like, getting it repaired. It was covered by the insurance, but they were dragging their heels, like, actually getting stuff done, and it got to a point where my mom had to send basically, like, a pretty, like, you know, a pretty, not aggressive email, but, you know, a very stern email being like, excuse me, you're taking advantage of my, like, 80-something-year-old parents. Their quality of life is dwindling because you're unable to hold up your end of the bargain. Like, what's the holdup? And, of course, now things are going smoothly along. because they put the pressure on them. And I was saying, like, it goes completely against how we've been socialized. But it's like, if you are constantly, it almost seems like, you know, if you are being agreeable and accommodating, you just kind of get forgotten about in certain spaces. And you almost have to become a really bitchy, pushy person in order to get things moving in a timely manner. Which is, like, completely counterintuitive to how you were raised. And it's annoying because it's like, I don't think all of it, you know, I think many of us don't want to have to, you know, bust out like bitchy Karen vibes, but it seems to be like the only way sometimes stuff gets done, which is really unfortunate because now we're just a society that rewards people who stomp their feet and throw their toys out of their pram, right? But it's interesting. Anyway, my grandmother finally broke through. Damn, I had, yeah, Of course it is. How did you, that's wild. Good for you for like, explaining that to her and being like, yo, listen. Because I know she's been very critical your entire life. She didn't realize. I feel like most people don't. I feel like most people who are like, who make comments about people's sizes is with the intent of like, oh, we're trying to help you. And like, yeah, like offer advice and help you be better. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's true, that's true. But that's really good that she almost like had that realization, because she could have taken, you know, the really shitty denial approach of like, well, I didn't do that. Absolutely not. Like, she could have doubled down on it instead of realizing like, oh, that was a toxic trait that was passed down for generations and I perpetuated that and I'm really sorry. Look at you breaking, you know, intergenerational trauma down one parent at a time, you know? Good for you. And I'm sure that's like a nice weight off of you as well. We're almost on this side of the coffee cup. You're fat, here, have a cookie. Yeah. Yeah, you're like this sort of mentality. It's like that yo-yo diet mentality where it's like, oh, well, or this thing where it's like, oh, I'm your grandma, I want to spoil you, but also now I'm spoiling you too much. Yeah. Oh, wow. Insulin resistant food just went past. Wow. See, and that's the thing too, because sometimes it is like, well, I think probably the majority of the time, you know, when you have, especially like if you, you know, I don't know, like I feel like, and I'm not entirely sure, but it seems like, you know, if you are doing the quote unquote like normal method of trying to like manage weight or health or things like that, and again too, everybody is different, but I guess like there's maybe like foundational stuff that's meant to be like universal, right? And if those things aren't working, it's like I'm 99% sure that it is because there's like an underlying health condition or there's other things going on that is inhibiting those like quote unquote normal ways of doing things to work properly. But it's like so many people just see it as like a one size fits all, like, well, this is what you do and then things change, and you're like, oh, how come this isn't changing? And you're like, oh, it's because I have all of these things that you don't have, and therefore my body's gonna react differently to you. So don't assume that you doing what works for you, to me, is going to have the same results. Yeah. Yeah. And it's like once you know what's going on with your body and are in a position where you can better, like, you know, yeah, the more you know about your body, the better you are to make those sorts of things. And I think that is a universal, like, I think that applies both to physical body and also, like, mental body. Wow. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Any progress to what you deem as, like, a healthier version of yourself is progress. You know what I mean? Regardless of what that looks like, whether it's losing weight, whether it's building muscle, whether it's, you know, just moving, like whatever, right? Yeah, I think any progress is good progress. Yeah. No, I think that's really awesome. And I think, and that's the thing. So like I said, I think like the more you know about your own person, and that means I feel this both for mental and physical health, the better off you are to create, you know, like a lifestyle or a pathway that's going to be more successful to you, right? Yeah. Oh, I forgot. Did the rest of her tests come back okay? Because I know her biopsy came back clear, but you said that there were a few more tests and stuff that needed to kind of come back, was that in relation to the transplant now? Yeah. Ooh, I've heard bad things. Yeah, that's the. You know, the only reason I know about this is because I watched a Try Guys video where Zach Kornfeld accidentally stepped on glass and got like a really bad infection, like literally 2 weeks before his wedding. And he got C. diff, which apparently is like when you're on a bunch of antibiotics and then you get like a poo virus or something like that. And it's like highly contagious. Yeah, you watched that video? Yeah, so is that what it is? So it's the poo one. Yeah, it was really cute. Did you watch when Zach took shrooms and went to Mario World? That was a zany video, but it was funny. I enjoyed it. Sometimes I enjoy the chaos, you know? But yeah, they definitely, like, Try Guys videos are definitely, like, they're definitely, like, my comfort channel. Where I'm like, oh, if there's nothing else on, I don't, like, you know, I don't feel like watching video essays about, like, you know, existential stuff. Just watch a silly Try Guys video. Yeah. I know, to be fair, not being funny, I think I am too a little bit. Which is so funny, because I feel like it's one of those where it's like hindsight, right? Where I didn't realize like how cringy and annoying this person was. And then now that they're gone, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm enjoying all of this a lot more now. Which, yeah. I think also too because they're making like more like diverse sort of content in terms of what they're doing. And so, yeah, I don't know, it's just like there's just more, it's more fun. Yeah, it's true. I see, and then I don't know if you ever watch. Sometimes I just have on in the background when he does like the eat, like it's, what is it? It's Eat with Keith. So there's the Eat the Menu, and then he does the Eat with Keith, which is the live stream. I think he's doing another one soon where they're eating like frozen pizzas or something like that. But yeah, especially when it's a massive menu and he's like at the tail end and he just looks like he's so over it. He's like, no, I can't do it anymore. It's like eating all those things makes him delusional, but he keeps putting himself through it. Oh, last 3 stitches on this side of the cup. Burr, 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 burr. Booyah. Alrighty then. Oh. Oh. I play the Keith's live streams. His Eat the Menu or Eat with Keith live streams. Because they're like 2-3 hours long. And so I just like watch them over a period of like a couple days. Alright. Where are we at now? They're fun. They're a little bit more chaotic. They're not as like, you know, formulaic. They're a bit more drawn out, but like they're good background fodder. Okay, we have what? 196. Let's do this. Yeah, no problem. Go get your lunch. Go get your sustenance. Actually, I'll take another bite of my granola bar. Just gonna turn this a little bit. What's going on over here? Boop, 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 boop. Whoa! It's fine. Oh yeah, we're gonna crush this. I have all faith in us that we will get her done. Get her done. Huh? we're in like speed. It's like speed round mode. Speed round mode? Speed mode. Concentration. Zip, zip, zop. Get her done. I feel like I was feeling a little scattered again this morning. I think there's still like not like every day, but every once in a while I'll get like, you know, thoughts in my head of like, okay, what's outstanding in order to prep for this reception and stuff like that. And then I get a bit like, oh my God, like there's all this and that to do. But then stuff gets trucked along. I think because, you know, if you get like an email or something and I like don't respond to it right away, then I'm like thinking about, oh, I need to respond to that. I better not drop the ball. And like, I got to make sure I do this thing. But I'm feeling better now. I think I can always tell, like, if I go on, like, a forest adventure with Shadow and I come out of it, usually, like, regardless, I always come out of it really good. But I can tell, like, when I'm in the forest, if I'm almost, like, not focused on the forest itself, it then is like, oh, okay, your brain is, like, doing the thing. But towards the end of it, it was really good. But I always get a bit like, oh, man. But things are trucking along. I think too, like Liam has an away weekend with some peeps, and so I might, if there's like any outstanding running around, well no, he might have the car. I don't know, we'll see. I might just chill, might just vibe out. Vibe out without him, we'll see. The home stretch, friends. Home stretch. Listen. There we go. I feel like every time I cut the string off, I always forget where I put my little trash can. It's over here. Here. Brain, it's here. Oh. All right. Oh, it was so funny. It's not funny, but it's just like typical timing. Maybe Alanis would write a song. It would be a verse and ironic. Maybe. But the office that Liam works at, I guess they're like doing well, and so they want to, and it's been a while, because I think originally they were planning on moving offices, but now they're staying where they are, and they think, oh, we're gonna like basically refurb the office, and so they're like even doing like new flooring, getting new desk setups, like doing all this kind of pomp and circumstance and stuff, right? Well, isn't it all kicking off in like a couple of weeks? So basically in the middle of like when my parents are here, when the reception is happening, Liam's office is like absolutely going like ass over tit in terms of like, you know, complete refurbing and stuff. So that's really funny. But he has to work out, because I think sometimes too, obviously working in like the IT side, if the construction is happening like during the day or whatever, and people still need to log on, like they might have to do weekend work and stuff. And so I'm like, well, you got to make sure you let your boss know like what weekends you absolutely are busy, because the fall in June, apparently this is meant to be happening like just the month of May, and then by like, you know, the first couple weeks of June it should be all done. But I don't know, because he also has a friend's stag do to go to on like in June over the weekend. And so I'm like, well, you better make sure you're not like being asked to work that weekend, because it doesn't happen often, but every once in a while there will be weekend work, and that's not in like their traditional rota system. So I'm like, you gotta let people know. But we'll see. Hopefully it all goes fine. It just sounds like it's gonna be a lot of work and a lot of like moving Tetris pieces. Like, okay, we're gonna rip off this side of the office and move all the PCs over to this side of the office. Okay, that floor's been laid, move the PCs back over, and it's gonna be a lot of that. But yours is looking to move too. Oh, that'll be really nice. Hopefully. Are they looking to move to a bigger place, or just a different place in general? Yeah, so I'm interested to know, because I think they have to have a few meetings about when it's all kicking off. The only positive is that I think they're basically like telling all of the people who aren't like IT to just work from home kind of like indefinitely during like throughout the course of this. So hopefully that means they will be not dealing with people as well as like contractors and movers and all those different things. But who knows? I'm sure there's some people that are like, I hate my home set up, or I'm like, 2 minutes away from the office. I thought I'd just come in to like get away from my kids or like whatever. But it'll be like, no, get your ass back home. Who knows? Bigger office in different place. We're on a great neighborhood. Oh, interesting. That's interesting. Bullet holes in their roof a lot from where they've been fired up in the air. That's just like a thing. That's like some, I guess so. I'm like, I guess you are in the South. Because in my brain, I'm like, that's some cowboy shit. But yeah. Wow. That's interesting. Hopefully you guys can find a better place then. Because that seems a bit, that seems a bit unnerving. To say the least. Actually, let me look at the picture. Yeah. Yeah, so the outline is literally like just around the lip of the coffee cup. Interesting. Okay. Wow. We're ranked up pretty high on those. Really? And is that like your city neighborhood? That's not, is that like, that's not in the state, is it? Or is it like, it's not your state, it's like the city within your state? Specifically, really? Wow. And is that like, do like this? I don't know if you have this information, or I don't know if this is like a dumb question or whatever. But is that like related to gangs? Is that related to white people targeting unarmed minorities, or is it like, you know, just disputes, domestic violence? Like, I don't know if they have that information to break that kind of stuff down. Because you always, like, yeah. Let me see. Livability, okay. Amenities A+, interesting. Cost of living, crime and employment and house. Wow. So the cost of living in the what would amenities mean? Data reflects the 2020 calendar year and was released in 2021. The most current available data. Wow. Damn. Wow. Area vibes, what a title. It is, gangs. That's a shame. Well, it's just frustrating, right? Right. Okay, so that's what they mean. What they mean by amenities is like access to like parks and like gyms and movie theaters and like stuff like that. Like, is that kind of what they mean by amenities, I guess? Is like access to activities. But yeah. But yeah, so here's hoping. But I guess, like, it's not like you would move out of Birmingham, would you? It would just be out of that particular area in Birmingham that is a bit, like, higher risk. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like those are things too, like, it's so interesting. I guess it's just, to me, like, anytime it's a major city area, because I feel like around here, yeah, there is still that, like, okay, like, make sure you message me when you get home safe and stuff like that. Whereas, and I don't know if it was just, it must have been just my neighborhood, like, growing up, because I lived sort of, like, yeah, in this, like, interconnecting neighborhood, suburbia or whatever, where, like, I was walking home, again, it's so wild depending on where you grow up, right? And I think I've talked about this before, where it's, like, the concern walking home late at night in my hometown, like, in my neighborhood, was that you were gonna come across a bear. So it was more the wild animals you had to worry about than the humans. Whereas in, you know, more metropolitan areas, or even probably like in like the downtown core, it would be more humans. But that's when, you know, all the stuff that you get. I don't even know if anyone actually sat me down and taught me these things. Maybe I read about them. Maybe I was. Maybe they, I don't think my parents did. Maybe it was a school thing. I'm not sure. Like the idea of, you know, always walk in well-lit areas, you know, like if if there's a shortcut to get to like the bus stop, for instance, but it's like completely pitch black, maybe don't go that way at 10 o'clock at night, go the long way where it's like well lit and stuff like that. Yeah. Those are things that just, yeah, I don't even know. It's one of those where you try to think like, okay, these like defense mechanism things or stuff that gets taught to people at a young age, like, Is that just stuff that gets kind of like colloquially passed down? Like, I don't remember being sort of sat down being like, this is what you need to do to keep yourself safe. I don't know. Yeah, on the outskirts. It's interesting because that's the thing, right? I feel like sometimes outskirts are good because you're sort of away from all of the hustle and bustle of the town center, and ergo, like, maybe where most of the heightened activity is. Or it's the outskirts as in, like, people hang out in the fringes because it's easier to hide away and get up to nefarious activities. Never lived in an area around here, and it's not walkable where I was. Yeah. That's the other thing, too, if you, like, live somewhere versus where you work. Sometimes it's, like, the familiarity of your home is a bit more like you have the ins and outs of the area, whereas sometimes if you're just going somewhere to clock in and clock out every day, you don't necessarily have, like, the ins and outs of the space. Which you might not want to, you know what I mean? Really? Oof. Interesting, interesting. Yeah, we used to joke because everyone got concerned because the performing arts school that I went to was in the downtown core of my, like, town. And I think I remember when my parents were talking about how I was going to this school and everyone was like, oh my god, like, that school is downtown. There's, like, weed there, you know, like, it's gonna be really bad for her and stuff. And even, too, like, even the high school in my, like, neighborhood, it was considered, like, not, like, a druggy school, but obviously, like, it wasn't one of the academic, like, you didn't go there because you had good skills in math and science. You went there because you wanted to get into the trades and, like, didn't really care about your grades and stuff. That's how that was, like, prompted in my hometown. And then obviously the school I went to was a bit further away. And then that one was downtown. It was the art school, but it was also like, oh, well, that's downtown and that's where all the weed is. Oh my goodness. And it was like, yeah, in the grand scheme of things, I feel like the schools that had all the money had all the little rich kids go, and they had access to the harder drugs. And so actually, I was probably going to be more in danger if I went to one of those little rich kid schools than if I went to my downtown performing arts school. But it's just about perceptions and attitudes, right? Though there was a massive scandal at my high school. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There was a massive scandal at my high school that ended up having a girl get expelled. And this one guy almost got expelled, but he didn't. Where this girl brought weed brownies to school and passed them around. And then everyone found out, and then she got expelled. And a bunch of the kids who, like, knew about it, but, like, didn't participate in the distribution of it, got suspended. But yeah, that was a huge thing. Was the C students would never partake? Yeah, right? You were like, no, not necessary. And also, too, I can't think that, like, you know, having ADHD and engaging in a substance like that would be good for anyone. But I'm sure, like, the brain chemistry stuff that would occur would not be ideal. Yeah. I had friends who went to, like, I guess I would call them the rich kid schools, but they were, like, yeah, the academic schools. But because she had the grades and was in, like, because there were certain programs you had to be in. So our schools, unless you were in Catholic school, like, there was the Catholic school board, and then there was, like, the public school board. And the public high schools in the area, I think there were, like, 5 or 6 or something like that. Each of them had sort of, like, their own specialization. Yeah. So when you wanted to go, like, when you were picking high schools in elementary school, it was with the idea that you had a certain thing you maybe wanted to specialize more in. And so obviously, like I said, there was the performing arts school, there was like the tech trade school, which was the one in my particular neighborhood. And then there was like the International Baccalaureate Program school, and that's where they were taking all these extra classes. And that's where like the super smarties went. And then there was another one that was also kind of a bougie smart school, but they had like, in order to get bused, you had to be accepted into their laptop program. But I don't quite know what that meant. I should ask my friend, because she was in that program. But in order for her to get, she was in the laptop program, which I think was just, I don't know if that was like coding, but I think she also took a lot of academics and stuff too. But yeah. And then there were like some sort of outskirty schools, and I don't know what their kind of specializations were. It was more just like they were in the middle of nowhere and they needed a high school out there. And then you had like the French ones as well. That were public schools, but they were like French immersion ones. But yeah. Oh, you're back in here, babes. Hello, baby boy. Yeah. You're back in here. Where are we at? Ooh, we got half hour to go. Half hour to go. One of the other teas I picked up at Fortnum & Mason was like a cold infusion one. So it seems in the last few years that all the tea brands have been coming out with like teas specifically to make like iced tea with. Because obviously you can make any tea in iced tea, but these ones are like particular infusions, and I think they have like a special, I'm sure it's like a microplastic tea bag, like it's like a mesh netted tea bag that's traditional than like outside of like the sort of traditional paper ones. I don't know why. But those ones always seem to be the ones that are for like the cold brew infusions. But I got a flavor, it's like a cherry apricot flavored one. It's really nice. It wasn't in my cup. I was just thinking about it because I think this is like leftover squash taste. But it just reminded me of that. And I was like, oh yeah, I also got that too. And that was also very nice. I think if I'm gonna have, I've talked about this before, where I'm like, if I'm gonna have a fruit flavored tea, like 80% of the time, I would rather have fruit tea iced than hot. I find, yeah, I don't know, they don't taste as nice to me when they're hot for whatever reason. I don't know if it's because they like taste a bit bitter or they need a lot more kind of sweetener to them, just to sort of take the like, or they're like sour sometimes depending on the type of fruit that are used in the fruity teas. I find they just like taste like hot sourness, which is not ideal. And like not in a good way, not in like a tart lemon sour way, just in like a meh sour way. I don't know. Hot tea. Oh, really? So you can't do hot tea at all. Ooh. To be fair, like, unless you're putting, I think sometimes, especially if you're not into, like, tea, I think, like, especially black tea, just regular black tea, like your English breakfast or your Earl Grey hot would be, yeah, I think, like you said, yeah, because you grew up on sweet cold tea, you probably find them incredibly bitter. So that would be a really, like, that would be a real struggle That would be like when like little kids try coffee for the first time and they're like, what is this bitter bean juice? It would be comparable. Hello. What's up? Yeah, I got 20 minutes. Got a half hour. Yeah, I got a half hour, Shadow. You gonna grant me the grace to chill for a half hour? He's like, maybe. You're gonna find something to get into trouble with. He's like, perhaps. Yeah, you gonna have a little rest still? Yeah. Well, we're trying to finish this. Yeah, we're trying to finish this today. Oh, you can smell the granola bar. Here, I'll let you have the wrapper. Let me finish this. Here we go. A little bit of a stomach cramp. That's annoying. Like, listen, body. Smarten up, because we have a cross stitch to finish. Let's see where we're at now. I know I can physically see what we have left to do, but let's cross off what we've got left. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we got this one. And then we're done. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, where are we at? Where are we at? We've got 122. Okay, okay. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. As if there's 122 stitches left here. No idea if we're doing our 3 stitches a minute. Bless you. Oh, someone might not let us finish today. You can go downstairs by yourself. Yeah, you're a big boy. You can do it. I believe in you. Good boy. Yeah, you can do it. Okay, cool, cool. Yeah, no problem, Cat. Fingers and toes crossed, it works for you. I need to have burgers, chicken burgers for dinner tonight. Gotta go sort that out when we're done. Bought a bunch of avocados last week that have been slowly ripening. So I think if there's one that is ripe, I think that would be really nice on the burger. Just some sliced avocado. So I'm excited about that. Oh no! Is it not working? Because I have my OBS over here and like they're so small in the corner, I forget Phantasmo's there half the time. I'm like, oh yeah. Looks like he's almost leveled up. Listen, if this could just hurry up and be complete, that would be great. It's one of those where like it's good that I only have one color left to do on this project and I've done the outline, so I'm really just filling in. But it's getting a little repetitive. I'm like, come on now, let's chop chop. Get this over and done with. We got shiz to do. Hopefully the weather perks up a little bit because I think it's finally getting warm enough where like I feel like I could probably start doing a bit of gardening, because every time I take Shadow out the back and I look at the garden and we have these like massive dandelions, I'm like, ooh, I probably should weed the garden and like stuff like that. But I'm also one of those people that, like, when I am planning to do one of those things, like, sort out the garden, I go ham, and I'm out there, like, literally all day, because I'm, like, I can't, like, I don't know, I'm not a half-asser. I can't go out and, like, whittle away at things every time. I have to, like, break it up into at least quadrants, or, like, this tree I'm gonna do, or I'm gonna do this flower bed. But I struggle with that. I'd rather just have it all done at once. I don't like this in-progress-ness of things. I feel like one of our closer was. Yeah. Exactly. Just so you have something else to do. It was really nice yesterday, so I was like, oh, like maybe, but it's back to being gloomy and annoying. Though I guess as long as it's just overcast and it's not like actively raining, I guess that is achievable, you know? Home stretch. "15 minutes. We can do this, guys. We can do this. I believe in us." Listen. No funny business, please. Oh, this reminds me, this kind of music, like, it's sort of electro swing, but sort of like big band, old-fashioned-y. It reminds me of the anime Spy Family, and I really wish that they would, you know, release more episodes. Because I quite enjoyed that series. And it's finally an anime I found that it wasn't just like a 12-episode mini run. It had like a good few, like, couple seasons, and I'm like, I would like more, please. More Spy Family, please. Guess I could always just rewatch the original, or the most recent ones. Though I did find another one, like another, again, my niche found family slice of life anime. I think I found another one the other day that I've put in my, like, to watch file. So it is really cute. I know when I showed it to Liam, he couldn't handle, like, the little child character, because she kind of sometimes talked in, like, a bit of a baby voice, like a proper little baby talk voice, and that really kind of annoyed him. But if you can get past that, it's really funny and just, like, clever. And again, like, the music and, like, the style is really cute. Do. Yeah, this straight up sounds like it's from that show. I love it. like all I can see is a sea of blue stitches. Like my eyeballs are turning into blue crosses. Yeah, I definitely think this is the first, well, I'm trying to think. I think when we made that Ukraine Solidarity cross stitch, though that was smaller. So maybe we didn't. I feel like this is, I don't know. I'm not sure, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the first stream where we've only cross stitched in the same color for the entire 3 hours. I think usually, because that one I did in color order, and so the chances of that happening would have been with that one, but I think the project was small enough that we could complete and at least start another section in the same stream, if I remember correctly. It could be that that was the only one, but we also did that ages ago, and so yeah, it's been a while since I've just like been sucked in a color vacuum for 3 hours. What do I have to leave a group about? Oh. Really? What's leave from your window? That's so annoying. Yeah, I kind of, like, I feel awkward. Not awkward, but kind of, because, like, my favorite tea from Fortnum & Mason is Russian Caravan. But I absolutely do not fucks with Russia. I fuck with that tea, but honestly, it's ridiculous. It was actually, because Ukrainians sometimes celebrate Easter twice, so I was just reading posts about Ukrainian Easter. Because obviously Pasenki, Ukrainian Easter eggs are like a huge, huge deal. Like Easter's a huge deal for Ukrainians because they make like the Ukrainian Easter eggs. And because they sometimes, some of them follow the like Greco-Roman calendar and some of them follow the Gregorian calendar. And so those are on different days. Oh, interesting. Wow. View from your window. That's a really clever subreddit idea. That's so annoying that it's devolved into that though. I guess it doesn't have any, well, I don't know, it sounds like it doesn't have any mods, or if it does, they don't care about that kind of stuff. That's really unfortunate. Because that sounds like a really clever idea. Because that would also work really well, like, let's say if you're, you know, stuck in, like, post-op in a hospital, or if, you know, for other reasons why you're, like, sort of stationary in a place. I think that would be a really cool group. That's a shame. It's really unfortunate when, yeah, when the bigots and the terrible people co-opt something wholesome for nefarious reasons. Oh, it's Facebook. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that explains why. Because you know what? I almost feel like if it was on Reddit, that shit would have been cracked down, or the subreddit would have like moved or something like that. But because it's on Facebook, yeah, that's unhinged. I feel like unless it's a group that you need to like request to join, I'm sure like it's a bit of a hellscape to be in Facebook groups that are just like a free-for-all. Costco group member is going off about some Budweiser BBQ sauce. I love when those who call us snowflakes are the most easily offended bunch. That's the thing that I've, like, it just in general, too. It's like when people, one of the things I notice, because I don't go on Facebook very often, but of course, because so many of this stuff is, like, targeted ads now, and they'll usually show, like, a couple of the comments underneath, like, an article or something like that, and it's usually, like, random stuff where people just want to, like, comment for the sake of commenting. Like, I think this one I think it was, like, something dumb, like a BuzzFeed article of, like, oh, the top, like musical debates of the 90s or whatever. And so the tagline, it was kind of like, oh, everybody's, or you're, something about, like, basically, like, you're always one or the other in terms of these pop groups, right? So one of them, it was, like, Backstreet Boys versus NSYNC or something like that. And it's, like, everyone had a side. And then the top comment was, like, well, I was a New Kids on the Block stan because, you know, I'm a bit older, ha ha ha. And it's like, oh, okay. What did that achieve? Like, you threw out your, you know, like, that wasn't, if that's the case, then the post wasn't for you. So you commenting on it, like, I guess if the goal is to have a bunch of people, like, up, like, your vote and give you, like, a self-esteem boost, maybe? But it just, like, it's those things where people are like, yeah, and this. And you're like, okay, then it wasn't for you. So don't worry about it. I don't know. I've just, like, and to be fair, I've never been that kind of person. I feel like a couple times in my life I've felt the need to, like, reply to public comments or, like, comment on a thing and, like, think of something witty and funny or whatever. But it's like, now I'm kind of like, well, who's that for? If I want to make a joke about something, I can make a joke, like, on my own personal page. But commenting on a public forum just to, like, be antagonistic just seems like, I don't know, that seems like a lot of energy. Seems like a lot of energy to spend. Yeah. Yeah, it's like, oh, there's a thing like, oh, most people prefer apples to oranges. And then they go, well, I like pears. And you're like, good for you. That's not what the post was about. Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong, when I post things on, like, Instagram or Facebook and I, like, check the likes and, you know, you get that endorphin dump. But that's, like, I don't know. I guess it's the same high, but I just feel like maybe, it sounds very judgmental, but it seems like, you know, posting on your own personal page for your friends and, like, followers to, like, engage with seems like a bit of a less cringy version to get validation than, like, making random comments on public Facebook articles. But maybe it's all the same thing, and I'm just, like, the pot calling the kettle black. I don't know. Maybe I'm just as bad as the next person. I feel like I've been thinking a lot about, like, people, you know, I don't know, like, you know that thing I was thinking about the other day, because I knew about everybody, like, freaking out about Bud Light stuff and whatever. I say everybody, like, a specific subset of people freaking out about Bud Light and stuff. And then I always think, like, I was thinking back to, like, the concept, you know, of Darwinism and evolution. And it's one of those things where it's like, okay, you either evolve and get with the times or you die. Like, you know what I mean? It's kind of like a shit or get off the pot. It's like, you know, everyone's like, oh, back in the day, like, shit was never this woke, and we can't do this and can't do that. And you're like, yeah, it's called human evolution, asshole. Just because we're not physically evolving to, like, get web feet or have different toes or whatever. We're mentally evolving to a place where it's like, oh, yeah, we don't treat everybody like shit anymore. So it's either get with the program or don't evolve and die off Darwinism. You know? Those are your options. Figure it out. I guess it is 6 o'clock now. Well, shit. Yeah. Exactly. It's like, you gotta, I don't know. Like, there's a reason why shit's not going backwards. And to be fair, there's a lot of people that are trying to make shit go backwards. But again, those are people that are trying to resist societal, cultural, and human evolutionary change. And it's like, stop. Stop it. Oh, damn, I had such hope. Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, you can be a geeky, nerdy person and respect women. You know, like, that is an option. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, wow. What a novel concept. I'm glad you found one. Because I feel like Liam's a big old nerd as well. But he's not disrespectful. His mama didn't raise him that way. All right. It doesn't look like we're gonna get this done today. Despite the valiant effort. He will say it's a rare gem. Oof. That's rough. That's unfortunate. I didn't think that WoW was full of... Well, I guess so. But I don't know. I like to be optimistic that there are gaming spaces that aren't full of sweaty incels. So I'm ashamed. I'm saddened that that's not a, you know, a more common, that being a good person is not more common in those spaces. All right. I think we need to call it a day. Want want. Put up a good fight though, friends. We fought the good fight. think we're here in terms of yeah, something like that. I think something like that. That's good. You're like, I'm here for the gameplay, not for the shenanigans. We have 50 stitches left. Oh, brave fight. Valiant effort. Valiant effort was made. Just the tiniest little section. I'll finish it tomorrow. That'll be a tomorrow Tasha problem. But we did good, friends. We put up a good fight. We tried our damnedest. And, you know, tomorrow is another day. I have until the end of the week. So the fact that I put, you know, this much effort in, I think we'll be okay. But yeah, I'll finish it tomorrow. And then, yeah, we'll be back here Thursday. What are we going to do? Probably play a game. Probably play more Strange Horticulture. Either that or we're going to work on our needle felted picture some more. Because I really enjoy that. I'm really enjoying it. But I'm also concerned about losing the plot in Strange Horticulture if we don't play it at some point. So let's see who's online. Let's go raid a friend. Oh, Pop-Tarts online. So Passion's online. Artemis is online. Who else is online? I think that's Queen V Crafty. LB Body Doubling. Aries Start. Yeah, I'm enjoying it a lot. What's Artemis doing? Well, I feel like, Kat, we have to go see Artemis because her stream title says potatoes, and that feels appropriate. You know, I feel like that makes sense. I feel like that feels good. I'm like, you can't say potatoes and have us not come and check it out. So let's go and do that. And then, yeah. Woo! Go make some burgers. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys. It's been fun. Now all I can see is, you know, tiny blue crosses everywhere. But it's all good. I shall persevere, and we will get there in the end. And we'll go and see our lovely friend Artemis. And check out her very, very cute Disney Dreamlight situation. Okay, bye!